welcome to today's episode of the Daily Blend. I'm your host, AC, and we are joined in studio today by a familiar guest, Robert Ricketts, who is the owner of ITCOMO. How are you?
Happy New Year, AC. Glad to be here.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. All right, New Year. What are we talking about today?
Well, it's probably a good time to talk about Wi-Fi again.
Yes.
A lot of folks probably received new laptops, phones, other internet gadgets for Christmas, and now they're discovering that the Wi-Fi can't keep up.
Yes, Wi-Fi definitely at our house cannot keep up. So let's talk about Wi-Fi versus cellular.
Well, so that would apply to phones and some tablets. So cellular, of course, are the big towers that we see scattered all over the city. But then when you're at home, then you really want to use your own Wi-Fi at home because that doesn't chew away on your data plan. It's usually a whole lot faster, but the range is also a lot shorter. So we need to fix that if that's a problem.
Okay. So for me, like let's say I'm streaming a show, which is what I typically do in the evening. If I'm streaming a show and I'm on my cellular, like I'll get a little notification like this is streaming on your cellular. And I'll say, oh, I need to turn my Wi-Fi on.
That's a warning.
And so I'll do it. But then if your Wi-Fi isn't super reliable in your house, you feel like you're kind of stuck in that.
That's right.
In that spot.
Yes.
Okay. So that's why our next question is why is Wi-Fi quality poor in my home?
Right. So that can especially be a problem with larger homes today. The Wi-Fi transmitters are just simply not powerful enough. Wi-Fi routers are limited by law to 1 watt of output. So that's not very much. So those radio waves can be absorbed by all sorts of obstructions in your home. So floors, walls, appliances, furniture, heck, even people. And so that prevents you from getting a good signal in all corners of your home. So by installing a so-called mesh system, then we can put in multiple access points or transmitters kind of strategically located throughout your house. So then no matter where you go, you'll get a solid Wi-Fi connection.
Okay, so that's really good to know. And I love that you threw people in there because I promise sometimes my husband will walk past a certain spot and the Wi-Fi will go out and I'll be like, I think it's you.
It can certainly weaken it a little bit. Those radio waves are going right through
us. Going right through us. Okay, good to know, good to know. So what in the world is Wi-Fi calling?
So Wi-Fi calling is when you're on your mobile phone and you're placing a call, like real voice call, old school, not FaceTime or using an app, but the native dialer. That does not use the Wi-Fi in your home. That still goes through the cellular network. So if you're a long way from a cell tower, then you might have poor call quality and you're like, well, my data's good. What's wrong with my phone? And that's because your phone is trying to reach a distant cell tower, especially if it's a mile down the road. Wi-Fi calling is a separate feature that you have to turn on your phone. It's not the same as just joining your Wi-Fi. It's an extra step that most folks don't know about. But when you turn on Wi-Fi calling, then your voice calls will also use your home Wi-Fi.
Okay.
And that can give you a strong signal even if there's no cell tower nearby.
Okay, so that makes sense. So I know where we live, sometimes if we get people who come to our house, and let's say they have T-Mobile, for some reason they can get no signal at our house. So then they would need to use the Wi-Fi calling.
They can use Wi-Fi calling. It has to be supported by your wireless carrier, but I mean, these days, all the big carriers and even some of the virtual operators are all supporting Wi-Fi calling. And Android and iPhone both also support that.
Okay.
So look up Wi-Fi calling. Just Google it for your model of phone and who your carrier is, and it'll tell you how to turn it on.
Okay, perfect. All right. And so tell us if these Wi-Fi radio waves are harmful.
Nope, they're not.
Okay, good.
So now there's a lot of physics involved in why they're not harmful. There are waves that can be harmful, and I get into a lot of detail of that on my website if you want to read about that. But it's written in language that non-physics people can understand, and you'll come away with a good appreciation of how Wi-Fi works, why it's not dangerous, and just really everything else you'd need to know to have a good experience.
Do you find that people have that misconception that it is dangerous?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you wrote your blog post about it, right?
That's right. I mean, radio waves going through us doesn't sound like a healthy thing, but it's not a big deal.
And I imagine it's probably happening more than...
That's right. If you're worried about radio waves, there's a lot more going around than just the Wi-Fi in your home.
Yeah, I would imagine. And so if somebody's listening or watching right now and they're thinking, gosh, I've been struggling with the Wi-Fi in my home, do you come out and do like a a walkthrough?
That's right. Yes. In fact, I did one for a client down south just a couple of days ago. So what I do is I use field strength meter, and I can walk around the home and see how strong the Wi-Fi is in various parts of the house and decide, okay, we need an access point here. We need one over there. And if there's Ethernet cabling, networking cabling in the walls, then we can what's called backhauling those to the modem and get even better quality signal.
Really?
Right.
Okay.
So once I determine how many of these little transmitters we need, then I buy them and can install them, and that's pretty much the end of the Wi-Fi issues.
How do you know if there's Ethernet cabling in your home? I mean,
yeah, usually
you probably know.
Well, usually there'll be an extra panel near the circuit breaker.
Okay. A
low voltage panel that just has a bunch of strange wires coming down that nobody knows what they do. That's probably Ethernet. Oh. And on homes built since about 2000, it's becoming a more common feature.
Okay. Are they still putting those in like newer homes now?
Oh, today I would say it's nearly universal, especially if it's a home of, any size and value.
Yeah, and homes are smart these days.
That's
so I would
right.
imagine everything is kind of using the Wi-Fi.
And with good, strong Wi-Fi, that means things like the Ring doorbell camera can work, the thermostats, TVs that might be on some far corner of the home. All of that can get a solid Wi-Fi signal. But if you're worried about those radio waves, read my web article on that.
Okay. What's your website?
So my website is ITCOMO.com. Just click on articles near the top of the screen, and it'll take you to a page full of articles, and you'll look for one called All About Wi-Fi, which will be right at the top.
Okay, right at the top. Okay, so that's where you can go. You can go to ITCOMO.com, and you can you have a plethora of articles on your website.
There's a couple.
Oh, I've been on your website. You've got quite a few, but all really good information. And gets really in depth on some of the questions that people have, things that I could not figure out on my own. Yeah. So I appreciate you taking the time to write all of those. I mean, using your knowledge to kind of educate us lay folks who have no idea.
That's what I like to do.
That's right. Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate you every month when you come on. We'll look forward to your topic next month.
All righty.
And again, thank you so much for joining us. Always good to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then I'm going to have to call you out to check out our Wi-Fi at the house.
We can fix that.
Yeah, come over with your little
a little scanner thing.
Yeah, your little scanner thingy and tell us what we need.
Right.
Thank you, Robert.
Thanks, AC.